The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. Tuesdays here at Hail Varsity. We're powered by Cornhead Lager, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, and you as we get closer to the opener on Saturday. We'll reiterate where we are at this week in just a moment. Plenty to hear about this Nebraska squad from the quarterback, Dylan Raiola, in front of the media today. We'll hear from number 15. That is coming up. Tony White, Mr. Tony, as he was called in The Sopranos. What's the Blackshirts looking like here in 2024? You have the 12, not just 11, but plus one, which is a good thing if you're Cam Linhart. We'll dive into that. A new tight end, maybe. Another tight end, maybe, for Nebraska football to tell you about. A little bit different setup as hour one wide open for you in the stream. Hail Varsity YouTube, comments, thoughts, can join us there. Hail Varsity Twitter as well, at H Varsity Radio. And the phone line, Hail Varsity Radio Network, 489-1240, 489-1240, or 800-825-5865. Yes.
So many people call in and ask, hey, is it a good time? Can I go on the air today? If you're ever that person, today is the day. The entire first hour is open to you. Let us know your thoughts. UTEP, what's coming on Saturday, how you feel about this Cornhusker football team. It is a fantastic day for you to do so. Today's the day to do it.
And, you know, we can even get some season input. We gave our predictions on the weekend edition. You know what? So just give her hell here this first hour.
All else fails, let us know what you're cooking up for the game on Saturday. You making runzas? You making
tailgate? The tailgate selection is always key. So check us out on the socials around the Hail Varsity Radio Network and YouTube for sure. So today it was Tony White, it was Marcus Satterfield, it was Dylan Raiola, MJ Sherman. You had all sorts of player availability that we're going to get to. And we'll get our starting five shout-outs and then some on the way. So you have the Blackshirts. You have your starting 11. No shock there. A lot of upperclassmen, a lot of senior leadership, a lot of talent on that side of the ball. But Cam Linhart also making a dent, making a splash. We'll hear from Scotty Walden here this segment. His takeaways on Nebraska. Ton of respect from Matt Rule towards Coach Walden. Same with Coach Tony White and what Nebraska is facing. But Saturday really is not just the first impression, but it'll be a bit of a lasting impression as you watch this football team throughout the season. And you had some takeaways if we rewind a year ago up in Minneapolis, in Boulder, and then October hit. October hit with a bit of a win streak as you got into November, just needing one to get to postseason football, and you played so many tight ball games. And you had a team that gave it its best, but it was very offensively challenged. Let me tell you who the guests are as we're giving you an open hour one. In hour two, Matt Vrzal going to join us. Verz checks in at 5. Mitch Sherman. Mitch will release the Fury. 5:25, Mitch joins us from The Athletic. 489-1240. But first impressions, and those impressions will grow. And I'm still stuck, Elijah, on what Matt Rule said yesterday about wanting to play their best game the last game of the season. That's what you're used to for a lot of years if you're Nebraska football. Now, the bowl games didn't always go fantastically, but you saw Nebraska typically get better as the year went on. And then how'd the showdown go against a team that was going to go play for a national championship if they beat you, and that was Oklahoma a lot of years. Say you beat Oklahoma, you get to go play Miami or Florida State, one of the two Florida schools, in an Orange Bowl a lot of the time, or in a Fiesta Bowl, and you'd have a really good season, but a lot of times it'd end on a 2-game skid, and then you do it all over again and finish in the top 10 for decades.
Well, and as I look at last year in particular, the 2023 season, I think we saw a team that got better as the year went on, but I think we also saw a team that got beat to hell by the Big Ten slate as that year went on. I mean, we're talking, you were down, was it 3 starting offensive linemen by the end of the year? You were down 3 running backs.
You were playing quarterback merry-go-round.
Quarterback merry-go-round where was Heinrich the guy? Was Chubba going to be the guy? But Chubba was hurt. Sounds like maybe that was the case. Heinrich gets dinged, and now Chubba's got to play. Jeff Sims was dealing with that ankle all year long, as well as his play on the field. But then you also look on the defensive side of the ball where you had a lot of guys that were playing through pain, playing through injury on that defensive side. That was a team that got beat to hell through the winning streak in October, a couple poorly placed injuries in November, and that's not the same team. The team that we watched at the beginning of October was not the same team that we watched at the end of November because of how beat to hell they were. And that's going to happen throughout a football season. That's the importance of depth. That's the importance of having those next guys ready to go, those next guys that can play to the same standard as your starters do. They might not have the same athletic traits, but man, there's a standard you have to play to, especially in the month of November. Do you have guys that can go out and do it? And I think that's going to be a question that we're going to have to ask ourselves come late October, early November this year. We've had questions about the depth of the offensive line. I can almost guarantee you that the 5 guys that start against UTEP are not going to start all 12 games this year. That's just how play goes in the Big Ten. So how ready are those next guys up, not just on the offensive line, but across that whole roster?
Well, I'll say this. It was duly noted, the attrition and pounding of the Big Ten schedule. It was duly noted and addressed by this football staff to try and get 2 to 3 deep. I mean, what are we talking here? 8 to 10 defensive linemen that are going to be ready to go and be fresh and rotate in like it's a hockey line? Yes, please, if I'm a Nebraska fan. You need 3, you'll take 4 at linebacker. And the question is your secondary. You're starting 5 in the secondary you feel great about. Do they stay healthy? And do the guys backing them up that rules like saying you need to quit playing like the number 2s, right? Do those guys that have risen and busted it to climb up the depth chart, if they're called upon, can they go in and have minimal drop-off? Can you go perform, easier said than done, like a Gifford, God forbid, if he's got to miss some time, or a Singleton, or a Hardsog? Hill, the opposite corner, right? I mean, he's coming back. So that's really your key. What do your +1s on that depth chart do for you if they're called upon? And how drastically different is your football team if you're down a starter and if you're down a key starter? Let's get our starting 5 shout-outs going. Mr. Erickson is in to lead the way. NU Grandpa checks in second. Jeff Snitley, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty, in third. Arlo in 4. Dylan, what's up? He checks in 5th. Larry, right there, in at 6. Uncle Jimmy is here, says, yo, Adrian. Jack is here. Cornhusker Koala is in. I'm back, baby. Let's have a Tuesday. Jeff is here. Aggressively average checks in. All these folks are checking in. We should just do a stream 3 to 4 o'clock show. That'd be kind of fun.
We could.
You're looking at me side-eyed.
Well, that's an extra hour of work for me every single day.
I just shut the hell up. KG is here. The other Dave is in. Blake is in.
That would be really fun on Mondays this football season.
Okay.
The stream only hour 1.
Sure.
Oh, now you're getting me kind of fired up.
Now the wheels are turning. So Justin is here. Good to have you in, Justin. Moving along, Patrick is here. Patrick checks in. The real Matthew is here. Crew, now known as the Sexy Grinch, he checks in. A-Dub, Cliff from Florida is present. NASCAR Eric, good to have you. Black Hills Brennan, along with Walter from Philly or near Philly, keeping with his tradition, bleep CU. Rule the days here. Brent is in. James Williams taking time out of his busy class schedule. Kidding. Just to say hello. Tim is here. Tim, good to have you. And Cornhusker Koala says most people think that the summer solstice is the longest day of the year, but I can confirm that every day during kickoff week is actually the longest. Well put, Cornhusker Koala.
Wait, can you reread that name for me one time?
What am I? What's wrong?
You're missing an A in koala. I think is that Cornhusker Cola?
Well, Cola's with a C.
Yeah, but koala has an A.
Well, I don't know. Let's clarify, Cornhusker Koala. All right.
That was the funniest thing ever.
I know.
We're both right.
Yeah. Or not at all. Mr. Sargent is in. Anthony, good to have you. 3-Putt is in. Good to have you. Jim is here. MB Husker 13 checks in on the stream. Anonymous. One of our favorites is the gentleman Jim Walden. Anonymous points out we haven't lost to a Walden in over 30 years.
Well, gentleman Jim.
The Riverboat Gambler. Played quarterback for Devaney at Wyoming. We got to call Jimbo. He's enjoying his life playing college or spending time talking college football with his radio shows in Iowa and I think he's in Idaho now, but does a lot of Washington State stuff still. Brian Bauer is here. We'll get to more comments. Okay. So Cola, like Nicola. Okay.
Might be my new favorite stream listener. The great Nikola Jokic, yes.
Does he have a pair of Jokic's like you do?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm a true fan.
How was that purchase?
I also haven't named my dog after Nikola Jokic yet.
Okay.
Yoke's a pretty good name for a dog.
So how different, Peter's asking the question, is the defensive scheme against Colorado versus how UTEP and UNI? We'll find out, right? I know that the UTEP's going to be aggressive. It's similar to wanting to be disruptive. I know Prime's very proud of his secondary. Jack 9016 is here from D.C., and we'll get to more of the comments. Let's hear from the other Walden, Scotty Walden, interim at Mississippi State, has done some time at smaller programs, is climbing the ladder. Many in the coaching world think he's a star. That includes Matt Rule. And a couple of thoughts here from Coach Walden on the Big Red. We'll start with culture.
We know we're going against an elite opponent. I told our guys, I've watched them on tape several times, watching their defense units. I think you can look at the kickoff unit and you can look at the field goal block unit of an opposing team and define the culture of that team's program. And this program's culture is elite. I'm talking about Nebraska. Matt Rule's done a heck of a job. When they run down on kickoff, they run down, and it's like 11 wild banshees running down there, freaking ready to rip somebody's head off. And then when they attempt to block, field goals, for me, that's the first thing I look at when we're looking at the culture of a team, because that's when adversity has struck, especially on PATs. They've just given up a touchdown. How do they rush when the chips are down? And these guys blocked 3 kicks last year. Number 0, number 9 on defense are as good a D-linemen as we're going to play all year. And those two cats, they don't know any speed but full speed. And so you can tell the culture of the program is really, really good there in Nebraska. Matt Rule, look at what he's done program building-wise. His year 2s have been phenomenal. So we know we have our work cut out for us, but we're not going back down.
Well, that's a nice sign, to be honest. How does your special teams react? Special teams about momentum. It's that third phase. Don't need to detail how it's gone previous years. I will say Mr. Bush had special teams on point. Nebraska needs return yardage. Nebraska needs touchbacks when they kick off. Nebraska needs field goals to go through the upright in close ball games.
That's a big one there.
But, yeah, do you get after the punt situation or field goal block or PAT block? NU Grandpa, I believe in Tennessee. Check it in. NU Grandpa, thanks for calling. Welcome into Hail Varsity.
Yeah, we're down here. We live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm about a half mile from the Georgia border. So football Saturdays here are orange, sprinkled with a little Georgia red. and a little Alabama. But we dutifully hang our Nebraska flag every game day.
I love that.
And one of these, right now, or in the last several years, the neighbors kind of drive by and go, "Isn't that cute?" we just love to be relevant again and have people start to dislike Nebraska down here. That means we'd be winning. So that's what we're doing Saturday, just having a few friends over and watch the ball game.
Well, that'll be good,
Sounds
man.
fantastic.
That'll be good. And you, Grandpa, you grab a cold one and enjoy the Big Red. They'll get the season started off right, presumably, and things are off and running for Prime and Company a week later. Get that flag out, take a picture, and send it to us. We'll post it up on Twitter for you.
We'll do it. Okay.
Right, take
Thanks,
care.
fellas.
Good stuff from NU Grandpa there. Imagine that. He's in the heart of SEC country, where you have those Bama flags and the Rocky Top flags, and he's touching on the Georgia flags that are in his neighborhood. Then he's got that big red flag waving.
Let's start a trend. If you're somewhere across the country with a Husker flag,
Send your
in
flag
yard,
to us.
Yeah,
We'll post it.
Tweet it at us.
We'll post it with the weekend edition. All right, we'll get the flags flying. More from you on the way with Hail Varsity.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Open hour for you here on a Tuesday. It's Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel will dive into Tony White here in just a minute. Dylan Raiola also on deck. I want to tell you about some new friends of ours here at Hail Varsity, Neiman and Sons. Great folks, Trevor and Travis and the crew at Neiman and Sons, family-owned business since 1981. A family-owned company specializing in roofing, siding, and gutters, and a strong commitment to customer service. And they offer you comprehensive services, a range, residential, commercial, exterior services that does include roofing, siding, gutters, custom exterior lighting as well. If you're in the festive mood and community involvement, we're talking dedicated to improving the community in Lincoln and surrounding areas, reflecting their values, their work, and local involvement. They're so awesome. They've been so awesome for years with youth football as well. Trusted professionals. They're fully licensed. And, of course, Neiman & Sons have built a solid reputation through quality service and customer trust. Give Neiman & Sons a ring today for your needs. NeimanandSons.com or 402-423-8553. Excited to have Neiman & Sons on board here with Hail Varsity Radio. Appreciate them greatly. Tony White, how about that big smile you got?
Well, first, can we get to that other cut from Walden?
Oh, shoot, yes.
Yeah. That's good stuff on Raiola and the Huskers.
Okay, so that will kind of set the stage here. I mean, we're talking first impressions, right? The first impression you want to see from Nebraska. Let's be honest, it's on offense. It's completely on offense with what you dealt with a year ago as a Nebraska fan. And again, we're not just throwing Molotov cocktails. It was just a tough offensive year with all the injuries.
It's just the type of offense that made you want to bleach your eyes. And I think it's a low bar this year, is that you just need to have an offense that doesn't make you want to bleach your eyes, can move the ball decently, can put up points, and doesn't turn the football over.
So first impressions from a freshman quarterback, from a running back-centric rushing attack, and then some dudes at tight end, in the slot, at wide receiver that you can get the football to. And Coach Walden of UTEP knows it.
I don't think we make too much of it, other than the fact that he's a heck of a player. He might be a freshman, but he's one of the most talented freshmen I've seen. I mean, he was ranked one of the top quarterbacks, if not number one, number two in the nation, coming out of high school for a reason. I mean, this guy throws an elite deep ball. Obviously, being a freshman quarterback, that's always, as a coach, you put a freshman out there, there's always going to be some type of learning curve, I'm sure, within their system. They're going to have to, iron out with him and stuff like that. But this guy, to me, everything I've read about him, everything I've seen about him, everything I've studied on him, he looks like a student of the game, somebody that respects the game. And I cling to guys like that and respect people like that. And he respects the game and studies it. And he's going to be prepared. And he's as talented as any quarterback will play all year. I mean, he is. again, I think his future is through the roof. He's got NFL pedigree written all over him. He throws a deep ball that has been, fun to study, fun to see. I'm hoping it's not too fun to see on Saturday because he can sling it. He can extend the play. But the thing, I think the more important thing is the pieces that they have around him that they have brought in. I think they've done a great job. I mean, you look at their offensive line, I guarantee they average 307 to 310 pounds on the offensive line. They got, really, to me, 3, maybe 4 running backs. The top 2, the Thunder and Lightning. To me, those guys are physical, big backs that can run. And I think that having that run game with their tight ends as well. Their tight ends they're really high on, which you can tell on tape why. That helps a freshman quarterback. Because what it's going to do is allow them to try to establish the run. Get us with our eyes in the backfield and then allow him to try to take an easy shot, in one-on-one coverage. And we got to do a great job staying on top of the cut. And they brought in 2 receivers, a transfer from Texas, transfer from Wake Forest. They've got a slot receiver that ran a 10.5 in high school who is just absolutely dynamic. So we got our work cut out for us. They got a center who is a returning starter who's a preseason all-conference cat. I think his last name's Scott, if I'm not mistaken. 6'5", over 300 pounds. And at center, that's how big my tackles are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys got some Big Ten O-linemen. And, those things to me are the things that allow a freshman quarterback to work. They've done an amazing job recruiting, and now they got a talented guy behind center. And I think the thing that we've picked up from them is, just gauging what they did last year to kind of the new this year, if you will, is they feel like that they can take shots down the field on you when you load the box. And that's what we have to be ready for.
There you go.
Does that sound like
just the threat of, you can't rest on the fact that they're left-handed only.
And does that sound like a coach to you, based on the 2 cuts that we heard, that is more worried about the Husker defense than the offense? And that's kind of like the thought we have going into the season as well. The offense, probably going to be a slight work in progress. You have the freshman quarterback. You don't know how good he's going to be. Probably going to make some freshman mistakes, but the defense is going to be there to bail you out because they're the strength of this team. Does that sound like a coach to you that's more worried about what the Husker defense brings to the field compared to the Husker offense?
The good ones know how to kill verbally with kindness.
True.
All right. So let's hear a little bit from Tony White, Nebraska's defensive coordinator, met the media today. And the thing with this defense, right, we've touched on it a lot leading up to this first week, is can the defense be as good or better? The expectation from a lot of Nebraska fans is that it's going to be better. And I don't disagree with that because of what's coming back. Second year in the system, you've got a lot of vets. You're not really relying on too much young talent. If you are, it's second-year guys that played a lot of football for you last year and also endured the Big Ten grind because when we look at Princewell and we look at Lenhard, both guys had to deal with injury last year as the season wound down. You saw guys step up. The young pups that you are going to look at this year, one is on the corner spot, and they better do more than just pass the eyeball test from a speed and agility standpoint. You play for Tony White, you're going to have to hit. It isn't a business decision at corner. Okay, you're going to have to come up and get that edge contained and make plays in the run. But Tony White did touch on the challenge. Cut 3 here of UTEP. It's coming to town Saturday for 2:30 kick.
Yeah, you can see it especially when they play the FCS opponents, the FBS opponents. They play to win. You see all the formations, you see the tempo, you see they go for it a lot on 4th down. You can see it in the play calling, very aggressive. They got a lot of trick plays. They'll run some fakes on you. They keep you on your toes with the PAT field goal block with all the stuff they do there. So they make you work. They make you prepare. So they're fun to watch on tape, and it'll be a great challenge this week.
Again, kill with kindness, respect. I think it is sincere on both sidelines, right? They're familiar. They like what's going on. There's a high level of respect. But you absolutely We had KG earlier in the stream say Nebraska has not lost to a Walden in 30 years. That Nebraska team in 92 that lost to Merv Seiler and the Cyclones running the option and holding the football, the picture Jim Walden still has in his football office at home he tells us about, just to make sure it really happened. That's his punchline to it. You had that team coming off blowout wins over Colorado and 13th ranked Kansas, and then you go to Ames where the wind never stops blowing, and you get beat. You're on the doorstep of a top 5 team going in and maybe a backdoor national championship shot, and you lose. I don't think that was 19-12 or 19-10 or something ungodly. Don't ask Perella about it. He'll shot put you. But that's one of those moments where you didn't respect. You had a bad week of practice. You didn't respect the opponent. Nebraska will have that challenge at some point this year if and when they get rolling, but not for game 1.
Nope. You want to get into Blackshirts, Schmitty?
Yep, we'll do Blackshirts here. So the Blackshirts were handed out. They were hung in the lockers today. Now, we talk to Coach McBride every Monday about that. And it's a seminal moment, quite honestly, for not only coaching staffs but players that achieve that. And every guy we talked to that was good enough to earn one still remembers that moment, that day. A lot of them, our old buddy Jay Moore, still has it hanging in his office because it's absolutely about earning it.
Some say that black shirt's still unwashed in Jay Moore's office.
I wouldn't doubt it. It's in glass casing, so it's okay. But cut 1, and then we'll follow with cut 2 here on the issuing of the black shirts.
Nope, had them in the locker room ready to go. Coach discussed it a couple days ago, and then we decided to give them, who to give them out to, and then Coach said it this morning if we were ready to do it, and they were in their lockers hanging up. So it was really, really neat to watch them come out the gates with them. You could see the excitement in their eyes, and they knew what it was about. I actually threatened some of them, like, hey, you don't act right. You have your regular jersey there standing on the sideline, so we'll switch that out real quick. That's a special deal around here, and we want to make sure that we uphold it the right way.
So I think in 2003, Bo ripped away the black shirts. Might have been Vince Young, I think. That might have been ahead of Vince's
You're
time.
ahead of Vince.
Because he was 04-05.
Yeah.
Well, they played Vince Young or somebody that smoked him 31-7, and the DC giveth and taketh away the black shirts. But it's not just 11; it's a +1 this year.
There was 12 today. Cam got the extra one from last year, coming in here doing, and everything he's done in the off season, the summer, fall. Felt like he was a guy who had earned one as well. Yep. The 11 stars, and again, that's not just the 11 at the top of the depth chart. Those guys went back and looked at all the stuff that they had done, mat drills, if they were on the black, if they were black shirt in the off-season stuff, and then you go through the summer, the elite lists and all those things like that. It gets real tricky in there, but yes, it was the 11 starters this one, yeah.
Well, you have your black shirts. They're going to need to play like it, not just Saturday, but beyond.
And Schmidt, I looked into it. That 2003 Texas team did have Vince Young splitting time, a true 2-quarterback system with Chance Mock.
See, I wasn't high.
There was a true 2-quarterback system where they had an even number of attempts. Vince Young ran the ball a lot more, but they both played in all 12 games.
Vince wasn't tackled real well that day, but that wasn't just a Nebraska problem in Vince's career. More time coming up here at Hail Varsity.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? When I point you, yeah.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Moonbot's checked in, says howdy nerds. He's asking what I miss. Raiola talk. We haven't gotten into Dylan as he met the media yet, but talking first impressions, what do you think those will be Saturday? Jacob is in. Good to have Jacob checking in. And we're already going cart before horse and that's all right. Go ahead and talk it up in the stream, Hail Varsity YouTube. Like and subscribe there. And what happens if we beat Ohio State and are 8-0? The entire state says Justin drowns in Kool-Aid Jacob. Just worry about Saturday, worry about next Saturday, and then see how it goes.
If Nebraska beats Ohio State, Schmidt, what are you and I going to be getting up to in Columbus that night? That's the real question. We're going to be there, hopefully. That's the plan.
Yeah, we're there. It's not negotiating.
We may get arrested in Columbus.
No, we're there. We're there for work,
but in like a cool way, not in like a.
There is no cool way to get detained or arrested.
Well, detainment very different than arrest. Just so we're clear there.
Brett emails in Chris@HailVarsity.com.
Not that I know or anything.
Is concerned about the sound of the stadium and is worried about the playlist. You know, the stand up and shout. I don't know if Brett's a fan or not.
Well, this leads us right in. Should we discuss the tunnel walk?
No, I don't know. No. Hell no. It's game week. It is game week.
We could reset some of those off-season conversations.
No. Never. No.
It seems like a great day to talk tunnel walk, alternate uniforms, beer in the stadium.
Bleep and care. Dude, listen. I think you're going to have to audible with if you're a flask sneaker inner. You're going to have to go with the plastic and not the metal flask this year.
Yeah.
Because they've got those scanning things.
Uh-huh.
Uncle Andy.
This is not advice, by the way.
No, this is not advice. But I'm just saying, Uncle Andy, my beloved brother-in-law, plastic bottle of McCormick's.
Well, you can. Well, no, you can't even bring in sealed water bottles, can you? I was going to say, you could try resealing that sucker.
No.
But no.
Nope.
That's the all music festival trick.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. They let you bring in water, as much water as you want.
Well, let's hear from Dylan Raiola and get off of what booze you're sneaking in Saturday. another.
I'm not sneaking in.
No, I know. Another off-season topic during game week. Click. Turn the channel. So let's hear a little bit from Dylan Raiola as he was in front of the media today. And where is that? There we go. I don't have Dylan.
Yeah, it is. It was the first one I sent to you. There was the 3, and then there was one before that.
Okay, let me find it. Let's play cut 1 from. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we've heard about Dylan learning he was starter. It was pretty emotional for him how Rule told him. But, you know, the strides he's taken since he got to Lincoln, this offseason and beyond, cut 7. It's a true freshman. It's a 19-year-old. I'll say this. You have a guy that has a pro mentality. Okay? He has a pro mentality because he's been around pros his whole life. This is what you do. This is how you do it from a study and a prep. The guy loves football. He's really good at football. But he is as much about the preparation as he is about getting out there Saturdays. He gets that what happens Saturdays is truly a Sunday through Friday thing with his film study, with the playbook, with the talent, with the leadership. I mean, all of the reasons he wanted to come here to turn Nebraska, be part of the reason Nebraska turns around. And the opportunity to be immortalized is very real as well. I mean, I don't think it's an ego trip for him, but that's kind of the byproduct of being a really damn good quarterback that comes in and elevates this football team. It's not just about him, but he's a big cog to how well this offense can play. But his experience and cut 6 with where he's at now.
August was crazy. 6 a.m., 9 at night, sometimes later. Everybody was putting in hours. So I think it was great just to get our whole offense installed and just get the reps in. You know, study a lot of tape. Be around each other was the biggest thing for us. We already were a close unit coming into camp, but I think, you know, being around each other is you never have enough time. So August was crazy, but it was like organized chaos, and it was a lot of fun.
A little bit more from Dylan here, cut 7, trying to get as comfortable as possible at that quarterback spot.
Yeah, I think it was different spring, summer to fall. I kind of break it down those 3. Spring was getting adjusted to the speed, get the plays down, and kind of just get comfortable in the system. And the summer was more like physical standpoint of my body, taking care of my body, and getting ready for this haul of fall camp and really the season. So I think our strength coach Campbell, nailed it with all of us, and I think everyone's in a great position to be ready to play on Saturday.
So that's a little bit from Dylan Raiola today. He spent some time talking about the guys around him on the offense.
I think we have hitters from every angle that you can think of, and it's just a fun group of guys to come in every day and get better with. We go out to practice. It doesn't feel like a game for us. We're just out there having fun, doing our assignments at our best ability, and just cutting it loose like we have been the whole time we've been here since January. So, yeah, it's fun. These guys put a lot of work in and make my job easy.
So, Duck chimes in the stream. Hail Varsity YouTube, like and subscribe. Duck says that Nebraska will beat Ohio State. Duck also says another brave prediction. Duck says Nebraska will be in the playoffs.
Put your money where your mouth is, Duck. Go down to the sports book. Make yourself some money.
Maybe he has. Walter makes it known that there are fake binoculars that you can hold booze in.
Also fake bottles of sunscreen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a classic. Ken says back in the day you'd soak oranges in vodka. Dual purpose. Chucking at CU fans in libation.
Yeah. or the old watermelon trick from the Irishman.
Hard to sneak a watermelon into a football game, though.
But I'm saying you cut the top of the watermelon off, dump the one or the handle in, then you slice up the watermelon like they did in the Irishman. So trust important. Cut 9 here with the wideouts and the quarterbacks.
How does a receiver earn your trust?
Honestly, I'm a flipper on you. I have to earn their trust. They can run. They run so hard every day in practice, and if I can't give them a ball that they can catch and the timing, I'm wasting their time. So I think it all starts with the quarterback, starts with myself, and if I can give them an accurate ball, how hard it's coming, when it's coming, and I think that's how the timing goes. If I'm not doing them justice.
Well, first impressions when you got this talent on campus was elation. As a Nebraska fan, he's went out, he's won the job, and now that offense can be elevated. We'll hear from Marcus Satterfield next hour, MJ Sherman, a little bit more from Dylan Raiola as we wind down hour 1. It's Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Podcast always there for you. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play with Hail Varsity Radio. Like and subscribe. Give us a rating, good, bad, or ugly. We want the feedback. Hail Varsity YouTube, like and subscribe there. Can watch, rewatch on the Hail Varsity Radio Twitter at HVarsity Radio. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. And just letting you know where we're out this week. We're going to be at the Single Barrel Thursday Road Show Thursday to get your Husky football weekend kicked off. 4 to 6, 9th and P on Thursday at the Single Barrel Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill Gretna location patio show. Friday 4 to 6. Want to see you out there. All of our friends from Omaha that hear us on AM 590. Get up that direction and see us in Gretna. Get a slice of pizza, incredible pizza kitchen. Get the Bang Bang or the Boom Boom sauce. Get a Cornhead Lager and enjoy your Friday night before you head to football. Or if you want to just come hang out, all good. But the Gretna location, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, Friday 4 to 6. Saturday back at it, 11:30 to 1:30. Single Barrel. 9th and P ahead of Nebraska UTEP 2:30. So we'll be there at the Single Barrel again. Real Red Reaction follows. Will be posted up at the Single Barrel. and digital show for you on Saturday night. Your chance to chime in on the stream. Do it that way. Eric Fear is right on. GBR, Husker Volleyball. They are getting ready to rock and roll. Tim makes a great point. Turner Gill took us from above average to elite. And you get that opportunity so often to not only get a program changer at quarterback, but then do you stack future difference makers at quarterback after the great one leaves? And you look at the run of championships, you had Tommy, Scott, and then, of course, Crouch waiting in the wings. I mean, you get about a 7-year run for quarterbacks. You find one, you let one groom, and then about 7 years has been it. You look at Clemson's runs, you look at Bama's stacked jobs at the quarterback room, you look at Nebraska's championships, and maybe you just get a pipeline going. So that's important. A message here before we get out here this first hour. Matt Vrzal's coming up as we'll talk some Big Red with Verz. Mitch Sherman next hour. Dylan Raiola, his message to Nebraska fans. He was asked about what he wanted to say to the Big Red and Husker Nation, the Big Red Army, before Saturday.
Buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride.
Away we go. Is that it?
Yeah, I've seen this. It's been going around.
Okay.
I was asked, what's the message of Husker Nation for this first game, what they're going to see?
Buckle up. Got to be a fun ride.
I think that's a good quote.
Great quote. And it's going to be a fun season. Now, I'll say this. Many of you are waiting till after Colorado to emotionally invest. That's okay. You've been hurt before. Check Twitter and see how many times there's GIFs posted of log hitting groin area or kicks.
Yep.
Repeatedly.
We know which video it is.
It's the video.
We've all seen it thousands of times.
It was a popular video last November. And you're just hoping you're wearing catcher's gear. And maybe you won't need it this year. Hour 2 coming up with Hail Varsity.
The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back into it, Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager. Let's talk to the pizza man and longtime football coach at Scott. O-line, loves them trenches. We say hi to Matt Vrzal with Paisans, and you catch him Sundays with Husker Hangover at Verz51 on Twitter. Verz, is the eye black on? Are you ready for 2024? Thanks for the time.
Yeah, it's apologies for my voice. My nasal passages have drained, so I've got that going for me. Evidently, it's so hot that they finally melted everything out of there. But, yeah, no, it's fun for the kids. It's just that time there's no more practice. Now you got a game, and you get to put together all the work you've done and go play, which is what you want to do.
Is this mid-season Verz? Is this playoff Verz from a voice standpoint?
No. My voice is well seasoned. This does not happen to me, so this is a very foreign concept.
It's brutal, but it's even scarier. I kind of like it.
Could be.
Could be. It is. Oh. So how you feeling, man? As a former Husker, with this year, we listened to Coach Rule yesterday, and he's like, "Look, we're not going to ease Dylan in at quarterback. They're still figuring out running back." At UTEP, the way I took it is Bama. I mean, there's a ton of respect for UTEP, and there should be, and their coach. We'll get to that 27.5 number as well, but overall, what'd you take away from Coach yesterday?
He's just he's a pro. I mean, he knows he knows what he's doing. He knows how he wants things to be done. And probably more important to me, he knows how he wants it to appear. So they are seasoned. They are knowledgeable. They understand what they have going on. And so I just, all of the small, minute details that I think may have gotten passed over are now the main focal point of what is actually happening at Nebraska. And it's, it's nice to see. It's the way it should be. You can't walk past the minute. When you don't pay attention to the minute, then they just grow and grow and grow and become problems. So to see him and how they handle it, I think the right call was Raiola. If you're going to do it, do it. I mean, you're a 5-win team, and if you can get some juice from a young kid that obviously works very hard and he gives you the best chance to win, you have to do it.
It's Matt Vrzal with us here on Hail Varsity Radio. And Verz, I don't think we can talk to you without talking a little bit of offensive line play. I want to get your thoughts on Grant Segrin, the walk-on at Oakland Craig, former tight end, cracking the 2-deep, putting on something like 65 pounds in his first 2 years on campus. Now he's the backup left tackle. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I mean, the development of a player, right? And it takes a finite eye to see someone and say, okay, you want to hold this dream that you are this position. The reality of the situation is you are not this position. So if you trust us, you listen to us, we're going to put you in the best spot to win. Too many kids and parents think, oh, no, I played this position in high school, I'm going to play this position in college. It's not reality. It isn't true. You're lying to yourself. So to see a young man that obviously was presented an opportunity and said, hey, if you want to play, we're going to move you to tackle. We're going to put some weight on you, good weight, healthy weight. And then we think you can do X, Y, and Z with that. And he's obviously worked hard enough to earn a spot on the 2-deep, which is amazing. And so now you're one play away from being in the game. So kudos to him, kudos to the staff, kudos to Campbell for putting the weight on him, and we'll see what happens.
Verz, I want to go back to the weight you came in at and the weight you played at. How did that work out, man, when it comes to, and I see teammates of yours around that are not the same body types anymore. You guys lose that weight, but you want to tell us a little bit about the art of projecting and putting weight on guys that are taller, lanky, or made for the line, whatever body type you want to get into. But Nebraska has made careers out of that projection, that weight addition, and it really working out through development.
Yeah, I was not in that camp. The weight was there when I showed up.
Really?
I played in high school around 300.
Okay.
So I had to lose weight as a red shirt and then re-put it back on. Okay. So I had to go down then to go up. My high school coach, my first 2 years, I didn't think he knew my name because he just called me fat kid. Oh. And so then my senior, well, it was fine. I'm not soft. Like, I didn't take it personally. He wasn't being hurtful to me. I didn't cry because he said it like kids do today. It was just what I was.
I mean, that's kind of, from an offensive line coach, being called the fat kid's kind of a term of endearment.
No, not at all. Wasn't the offensive line coach. It was the head coach, Kenny Fisher. So it wasn't. But he did it to kind of give me a hard time, and he knew it would piss me off. And so then I would go out and play good, and it was just the way it went. But yeah, I lost weight and then put some weight back on. So I played around 315. But my thighs back then were like 34 inches, so I squatted a whole bunch and was pretty strong.
I like that, man. The fat kid motivation, the button pushing, the drive, and I'm sure you got a hug from the legendary head coach for the years you put in.
No hugs.
Ever?
No. There's no need for it. It's just, I'm not soft. We weren't soft then. We were tough. Like, it was, we didn't need that. They need reassurance today. Oh, it's okay, buddy. You'll be fine. It's not going to be fine all the time. It's going to be hard. Life is hard. Deal with it.
Matt, I want to get your thoughts with that in mind. Life's going to be hard. S is going to happen. Like, you got to deal with it. What's your take on this year's Nebraska offensive line? How confident are you in them?
I will be interested to see, and I think in this UTEP game, first point of contact with a ball carrier is what I'll probably be watching. Okay? Amir Abdullah, who I have immense respect for, God bless him, that guy's first point of contact was majority of the time in the backfield. Like, he had a defender in the backfield trying to tackle him already. So if they can control that, and that first point of contact comes 2 yards, hopefully 3 yards downfield, that's going to be awesome. And it's going to alleviate a lot of things for that offense. It's going to make it a lot easier to call plays. So if they're really getting after it and their body shapes and sizes have changed, which they've done a great job. Again, I'm a huge Campbell guy. I think he does a fantastic job. Now you'll see the attitude. Like, do you have that ass kicker mentality? Do you want to go out and be great? Do you want them to talk about you like they talk about, the pipeline of 94 and 95 and 97, or 83 even? Do you want to be that guy, or are you just out there playing? So that's kind of what I want to see from what these guys have, and can't wait for Saturday so we get to see it.
Matt Vrzal's with us, Hail Varsity Radio, and can catch him, Husker Hangover, and, of course, grab a slice at Paisans at Verz51 on Twitter. It's where you follow him. And we'll get to some high school ball here. What do you believe the game plan is or should be? And just knowing a little bit of UTEP, I mean, it's similar to what Nebraska's seen with Tony White's defense. They want TFLs. They want disruption. On the UTEP defensive side of things, if you're Nebraska, you want a run game clearly to help out a freshman quarterback. But Verz, they're not going to baby Raiola with holding back on what they're play calling, and I mean, God bless them. You want it to work out. You want plays to be made, but what is the what's the play sheet look like, or should it look like on Saturday?
Hopefully, the thing with aggressive defenses, they are all those things you said. They're disruptive. They get things accomplished. They do X, Y, and Z. But if you can use their aggression against them, you maybe make the defensive coordinator reassess what they wanted to do. Okay, so in saying that, like, if you look at a heavy blitz, a heavy twist stunt kind of team, if I can get you out of that mode where you don't, I'm going to make you play left-handed. You want to do this, but we've burned you when you do that. So now you have to play this way. So you're looking, for me, it's always screen game, which Nebraska hasn't been very good at in the past. But if you get some screens, if you get some passes out in the flats that get the ball out quick, in your run game, I'm always a big proponent of teams that really want to get after you and send a bunch of people, just a simple draw play. But then now when you get them to kind of relax and they have to change their game plan, now you can attack with the things you want to attack with, your zone reads, those type of deal. And I think Nebraska's speed will be better, so you could see that zone read where it's maybe an outside zone read where you're getting the guy out in the corner. So taking that aggression and using it against them, it would be how I would game plan for that.
Matt, before we get your thoughts on some high school football, I want to get your thoughts on just how you're going to define success for this game on Saturday. Obviously, Colorado's looming. The win is going to be important. I don't want to throw that to the side, but what type of performance do you want to see in order to give you some confidence before Nebraska hosts Colorado?
I would say if the game is clean, very limited turnovers, you're going to have a freshman quarterback who's probably a little bit different than most freshmen playing. So if you can keep the turnovers to an absolute minimum, the silly mental penalties that always seem to plague Nebraska in the past, if you don't have those, I think that's a huge victory and a great start. Defense, sound tackling and gap responsibility, nobody running wide open. those type of things, which I don't have a lot of concern about that. But just being able to handle the business in front of you. Okay. We've watched for a lot of years. Nebraska seems to find a way to beat themselves. If you're not playing yourself, you don't add yourself to the opponent side of the equation. I think the sky is the limit for the team. So if you clean up all those little things that have plagued you in the past, I think that then you really can see what Rule and his outfit have accomplished in 2 seasons now.
Matt Vrzal's with us, Hail Varsity Radio. Verz, I got to get your take on all the arrows Deion has taken the last week or so, from banning press questions to now the college football talking heads going in on him for having too thin a skin. And, oh, yeah, here comes North Dakota State into town to make this a bar fight. What a 180 it is, possibly now compared to a year ago.
Yeah, Deion, though, if you look at Deion, he thrives in chaos. Like when he played, he was always talking. When he did interviews, I mean, he threw a bucket of ice on McCarver. I didn't like McCarver, so I thought that was funny. But
where's McCarver at? Yeah, I remember it. Some people just thrive in that, and if you don't have it, we all have friends like that. Yeah. You have a friend sometimes it's like, oh, this is too calm, I'm going to create chaos. And so he likes it that way, and that's fine. That's how he wants to run his program. That's how he wants to live his life. Cool. Not my pig, not my farm. I don't have to worry about it. What he does, though, is now you're going to get to a point where all of this, it has to translate to the field. And you've got immensely talented kids. You know, I think it was on your network where somebody had said that they went to a practice at Colorado and they don't even tackle. It's Barney.
That's probably not a good thing if you're going to play a team like a North Dakota State that likes to play physical, smash mouth, punch you in the face kind of football. They're not going to have anybody to cover Travis Hunter. Let's just be honest, or any of the receivers. So if they can play keep away and grind it out and then make Colorado make a mistake, like that's kind of a big deal. Like when I heard that, I was like, whoa, better get to some tackling because those North Dakota State kids like to run. But yeah, it's just him. I mean, I don't know why people are so surprised. It's just he lives in that world. It's where he wants to live. It's where he wants to run his program. Good on you. Do your thing.
No, you're right about the chaos. Deion's always marched to Deion's beat, and me and Elijah were both just kind of wowed when we were talking to Barney last week about, how's practice been? And he's like, yeah, they're not really doing a whole lot of hitting. Like, okay, yeah. Have fun with that week 1 and week 2, but maybe they'll snap their fingers and it'll be okay. Doubtful. But 27.5. What do you think of that for Saturday?
Oh, well, I'm sitting in the Warhorse parking lot so I can go in and create an account so I can get an app. That's a lot of points. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll like it.
Verz, you take care. Always fun to talk some ball with you. Appreciate it.
We'll talk to you. Bye.
There he goes. Good to spend some time with Verz, talk some Big Red football. Mitch Sherman coming up as Mitch will release the Fury. The Athletics' Mitch Sherman on the way. Get the podcast. Miss the interview. Want to hear it again? Easy to do. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play with Hail Varsity Radio, Hail Varsity YouTube. Mitch Sherman on the way. We're powered by Cornhead Lager.
It's that time.
Psst. Hey, Mitch. Mitchie. We're looking for you, pal.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic, talking Big Red.
Unleash the Fury, Mitch.
Unleash the Fury!
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Mitch will be here shortly to unleash said fury. Mitch Sherman with The Athletic, the Locked On Nebraska podcast. How about a little bit of Satterfield while we wait? As, you know what? Sat was asked when he knew Dylan was the guy. Been pretty Dylan heavy today. We heard from Raiola in hour 1. What about the offensive coordinator? What's he going to draw?
He said it's been a Dylan heavy day. It's going to be a Dylan heavy week. That's just the name of the game.
It's going to be a Dylan heavy year.
that's the name of the game with a quarterback that is stepping into a new role, and add to the fact that he is a 5-star freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's
I
all
understand.
Good. So when did Sat know this was the dude?
I mean, there was a bunch of moments. I think throughout the competition, all the guys had really, had good days. There wasn't really a lot of bad days, but just the overall movement of the offense, the understanding of the offense, just the way that he operated the offense. I think, it was pretty clear that he was the guy.
And those attributes that Dylan Raiola possesses.
Just his maturity at 18 years old. I think just his work ethic, his steadiness, his composure. I think that he's shown all those attributes at practice. I think he's got obviously an elite arm talent, and not just throwing the ball hard. That everybody can throw the ball hard, but he can place it where it needs to be, where he wants it to be. I think some of the throws we're asking him to make, that's a big deal for us.
So let's ask ourselves, and those of you hearing us, this question, because it was really how Nebraska scored. It reminded me a lot of the 2002 season. And it's not that they didn't have long drives. They had a handful of them in 2002. Nebraska had a couple 8, 7, 8, 9, 10-play drives where they drove the field. But it was really a feast or famine offense with the explosive play component. And, Sat before he left the podium asked, hey, can this offense be explosive?
I think that's got to be, one of the big parts of our offense. I think, the way that we run the football, the way we ran it last year, the way that I think we can have a chance to run it this year. I think it's going to, open up some opportunities for people having to get extra guys in the box, which allows you to push the ball down the field.
Well, let's add to the fact that I think the roster is tailor-made to be explosive. Mm-hmm. That's the express intent of bringing in guys that run 10-4 in the 100-meter dash in high school. Is like, you want to be faster than the other team so you can be explosive. Like, it's that mesh of the power run with the explosiveness in the offense. This is not an offense that, I think there's going to be some elements of it this year, but it doesn't want to dink and dunk you down the field with the passing game. Like, it wants to dink and dunk you with the passing game in order to set up what's coming downfield along with the running game.
Well, you absolutely have to do all of the above if you're Nebraska this season. With a veteran offensive line, be able to run it. First and foremost, find a running back you can settle on, one or two, that can give you reliable carries. And Verz hit on it last segment. What's the point of contact? Dudes getting hit in the backfield, they getting hit at the line? Are they getting hit a yard past the line? Or, what's the success rate of the run game? How much pressure are you putting on your passing game if you're not balanced on offense? Nebraska was not balanced on offense a year ago in the passing game, although they made some hay with those big plays to Lloyd and Malachi Coleman specifically, or they'd find Fedoni in the end zone. Let's check in with Mitch Sherman with The Athletic at Mitch Sherman on Twitter. Locked On Nebraska Pod, must listen to. Mitch, thanks for a few minutes, man. How we doing?
Yeah, sorry I'm running late. I was picking up dinner and got stuck at the cash register.
It's all right. What is for dinner? We were asking what's for the tailgate dinner scene from our listeners and streamers. What's Mitch making, or what did Mitch buy?
Yeah, we're tailgating for the Royals, Guardians, and for Nebraska volleyball. So it's a special double TV night of viewing. And my 8th grader had his first cross country meet of the season. So Chipotle is for dinner. Got the carry out. The line was a little bit long, so. My apologies for being delayed.
You're good.
Your 8th grader's running cross country. He is a tougher man than I ever was.
Yes.
Hell no.
He's a tough man. I'll tell you, I can vouch. He's a tough man. It's hot out there today. Not a great day for first cross country meet of the year, but he made it through. Finished in the top 5.
Love
it.
Congrats, man. Congrats to Zach. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mitch, let's dive in and spend a minute here on this Nebraska offense and first impressions, right? Those are going to be on display for this offense in 2024, for this phenom quarterback. And what are you looking for offensively from Nebraska against a team in UTEP that's just going to want to screw things up on first down, on third down, really every down with that havoc rate?
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to create some havoc, much like Nebraska will defensively against UTEP. That's kind of the MO of the Nebraska defense is to put put the offense in unusual situations, send pressure from strange angles and unexpected places, and UTEP's going to do the same thing. Everyone's going to try to do that. Dylan even I think it's great that he recognizes that, but Dylan Raiola said today about how that's fine. Like, he expects that the teams that Nebraska plays against are going to try to rattle him as a true freshman quarterback. That's the first step for a true freshman quarterback to beating that kind of pressure. And I think it opens itself up, depending on how different teams do it. Not every team, but there are going to be teams this year where they gamble, and if Dylan is able to decipher what's going on, it's going to leave things open for the opportunity. Big play. And has to factor into that, and it does this year with a wide receiver core that is completely transformed from a year ago. And I think that's hearing Jamal Banks talk today about how he plans to, what he thinks of the true freshman quarterback and how he thinks it's going to look. And he says, look, we're going to have his back. And he said he's going to do everything he can to help Dylan, because he knows that there's times they're going to get off schedule. And if that means coming back for a ball that's not the way the route is supposed to be, then he's going to sell out to do that. I think if there's anything we've learned about Jamal Banks so far in his time at Nebraska, it's that he's a great teammate, and he's kind of the offensive captain in that he was the one guy on the offensive side who was given a single-digit jersey. A great person for Nebraska and for Dylan Raiola to have in that huddle. And I think Ramir Johnson you can probably say the same thing about. So as much time as they can get Dylan around players like Jamal Banks and Ramir Johnson, and there are other examples on the offensive side too, the better it's going to be for his development and for the Nebraska offense as a whole.
Mitch, with that in mind, with the weapons that Dylan has, he had an interesting comment today. He was asked about how those wide receivers build trust with him, and he turned it around and said, well, it's not about that. It's about how I build their trust in me as the quarterback. Like, they're the ones that are out there running and doing all the work. I need to be the guy that gets them the ball on time, on target. Like, what was your response to that? Because it's a different way of thinking about that than I think a lot of people have ever talked about that quarterback wide receiver trust. Super
mature. I mean, I don't want to, blow too much smoke here, but that's the kind of answer you'd expect from a 5th or 6th year senior. I was not expecting that answer, for him to say, no, it's not about those guys earning my trust. It's about me earning their trust. And when you're a true freshman and you're surrounded by a bunch of older veteran players who've been through battles in college football, I think he's got a good read on that. But the fact that, again, that he's able to recognize it, much like he's able to recognize the way that defenses are going to come and attack him, it speaks to several things. One, that he's come into college football before Nebraska ever got its hands on him. He came in with elite training and preparedness to play this position at a high level. And then the job that Glenn Thomas, that Matt Rule, that Marcus Satterfield, and that really these teammates like Banks and Ramir Johnson and Turner Corcoran and others on the offensive line, Ben Scott, certainly Bryce Benhart, the impact that they've had on him to allow him to know what it's going to be like has been outstanding to this point. So, look, he hasn't done anything yet, and I don't want to get carried away with superlatives in the answers here, because they could go out on Saturday and he could look very much like a true freshman. But if he does, and it's not real smooth, it isn't because of a lack of readiness and preparedness and an understanding of what he needs to do and how he needs to approach the game. I think he's as prepared right now for this task as you can be for a player who's yet to play a down of college football.
Mitch, what are some signs of progress on offense? Yes, points. Yes, explosives. But what else do your eyes need to show you, at least in game one?
I mean, you always like to see the big plays, but I'm looking for some sustained drives where Nebraska can have some 10 to 12 play drives, and they pick up first downs in difficult situations. You find yourself in a 3rd and long or a couple of 3rd and mediums, and they're able to execute and make the plays. And you come back from maybe from a penalty or a botched play and continue to move the chains. And that's the sign of a mature offense. And even with a even with a rookie quarterback, you can still have a mature offense because of the pieces around him. So, yeah, ultimately it's about points and it's about not turning the ball over. Those are the obvious things, but like the little things within the context of it, I like to see them pick up third downs and sustain drives.
Mitch, you kind of talk about mentality of the team there, and I want to get your thoughts. Did you hear UTEP head coach Scotty Walden, his take on Nebraska and their culture, how it shows through on film? Did you get a chance to hear those comments?
I did, and I believe he was talking about special teams with that stuff. Yeah, I mean, he talked about, and I don't know that people looked at Nebraska's special teams last year and saw the results, like the statistical results, or even like the visual evidence as we watched it, not coaching film, but like the way we watched it, and thought, okay, there's a mature team right there. There's a team with great culture. Special teams was up and down last year, and there were some moments that were fine, and Nebraska did some good things with some of its coverage teams, not so much with returns. But what I understand what he's talking about. He's looking for when you watch a team. If you're going to study a team, I think it's a great place to start, because if you don't have a great culture, special teams is somewhere that it's going to show, and you're going to see guys who aren't giving everything. Like, first, you're going to see players on the special teams that aren't top unit players, and it's just like a space to get somebody on the field, or maybe you can sense the attitude of a team if all their starters are getting a break when special teams are going on. But if you turn on the film and you see a team that's got its whole starting secondary and a bunch of other starters, receivers, linebackers, running backs who are playing special teams and running down to cover kicks especially, then I think that does tell you something about a team. And then if they're going all out and they're knocking teams around and they're great in kick coverage or good in kick coverage, and you just see the aggressiveness, then that's absolutely, I think that's a great way to analyze any team, and it shows a lot of wisdom on the part of a young head coach in Scotty Walden. But hey, he's done this before. He didn't just get hired as a head coach. He's been at Austin Peay, and he's had success. He obviously knows what he's doing.
Mitch Sherman with us from The Athletic. Mitch, go eat. Best to your fam. We'll holler next week. Thanks for the time today.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, there he is, Mitch Sherman with us. We'll wind down some more sound with MJ Sherman on the way.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Big thanks to Mitch Sherman, Super Dad. Getting it all handled. Yeah. He's got to be, I needed to ask him, he ran out of time, if he's wearing his Bobby Witt Jr. or if he's wearing his Salvi jersey. His Royals making a push.
With his son running cross country, what's the furthest you've ever ran continuously?
Dude, I remember in grade school having to do the 50-yard dash. Like, I know it's a 40, right? But you had the 50-yard dash I was a Shar-Pei as a kid. I was fat, on prednisone, asthmatic as hell, just a husky fella. So that wasn't fun. Sounded like Fatty McGee from Adam Sandler's incredible comedy CD from '94. They're all going to laugh at you. I never ran the mile. Would start out and then ended up just walking it.
Yeah, I feared the mile day because
I tried to maim myself so I missed the mile.
Yeah, we'd know when it was coming because they'd say, "Oh, it's coming up next week," and then you'd see you'd be sitting in your second period class and here comes all these kids running past you, and you'd go, "Oh, the mile's today, huh?"
Yeah, the wonderful presidential fitness chase.
Oh, yeah, no, it would be absolute.
Meanwhile, I'm going to order 7 ice creams at lunch in junior high.
Yeah, no, it was that was a day to be feared for me.
Let you clean me up.
It was you get halfway, and there'd be one of the gym teachers there standing there giving you encouragement, making sure you weren't cheating, and I'm dying. I am physically dying. I'm in the back of the pack.
No, I was not wise enough to sneak through the hallways of Irving Junior High and pull off the Miracle New York Marathon finish.
Well, I assume we both went to Irving, so I assume we ran the same path for the mile, probably.
Yeah, and
we go back around the park, and then you come around to school and wrap around.
You were hoping to find that burnout hippie in the park. I mean, he's probably still there. At least give you a little encouragement for the road. Just kidding, kids. Let's hear from MJ Sherman. He's stoked about being a black shirt, but he's also realistic that the D coordinator giveth and can taketh away. Cut one.
Cut one from MJ?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, really just where we left off in the spring. I mean, the summer we were just doing a lot of conditioning, OTAs and everything, lifting and everything like that, everything else like that.
Cut.
Yeah, because you set that one up, and I'm like, the first guy's one.
Okay. Do we have anything on being a black shirt?
From MJ?
Yeah.
The leaders of the defense, I think. Maybe
yeah, let's do that. Let's see if that works.
I mean, you got like wonderful guys like Giff, Ty, Jamari, who else? Even Marquise. Like, there's a lot of guys. I don't, like, to be honest, I want to say, or even Nash as well. Like, there's no one set leader. Like, everybody has a voice to that team. Everybody can speak up and say what's right, what's wrong. Because why? Everybody knows what the standard looks like. Everybody knows what the standard is. I have an opportunity to say something. One of the sophomores, juniors, other seniors, 6-year seniors, 5th-year seniors, even freshmen, if they know the standard, they can say it. You know what I mean? Everybody holds each other accountable. So, yeah, we trying to be a player-led team, and I do feel like we're taking the steps to be so.
I don't think that was what you wanted either. So
no.
Give me one moment here.
Do we not have anything from like the first 2 minutes of MJ Sherman talking black shirts?
Give me 2 seconds here.
We'll go back to hell that was the mile run in junior high. Brennan says, I had my personal best 0 pull-ups. Brennan, you and I both. Never was able to do a pull-up. It's too fat and happy. The Grinch, Sexy Grinch crew, loved the mile run and anything really athletic-wise because I was a specimen. You still are, dude. And in elite shape. That's pretty good. But I think the kid who still set the grade school record at Ruth Hill Elementary, I think his folks were redshirting him, man, even in 6th grade. Because he had gorilla legs and 40 pimples. He had sideburn chops in 6th grade. I'm fairly certain he drove to school in 6th grade. Golden Fang asks an important question about the new tight end. Mac Markway, come on down. LSU dude. Let's give you a little lowdown on Markway.
And Schmidt, I realized I have some heartbreaking news to share with you.
Didn't edit it?
No, the audio that I got from MJ and edited up. Well, I got the real audio. The audio I edited up was from 2 weeks ago. That's a mistake on my part.
I thought I dated it.
You did. You did. I pulled the one with the wrong date and was not paying attention.
MJ didn't sound happy as hell that he got a black shirt.
As I was editing today, I'm like, man, some of these questions are pretty generic given the fact that it's a game week. I was like, I wasn't going to talk about any of the reporters and their questions, but I was like, man, I don't think these are the questions I would have been asking.
Nope. And they weren't. Wow.
Well, it's okay.
You just can't plug and play, can you?
Yeah, let's see if I have a job tomorrow.
No, you're good. You're fine. Mac Markway, take 3. It's tequila time. Tight end LSU, number 17 tight end in the country in last year's class. Didn't sound like the Southern gentleman was going to play him this year. Don't know what the word is there.
I mean, but considering he's a guy that played as a true freshman last year, he's in a loaded tight end room, but he got good play time last year, even caught a touchdown.
He did. I mean, the guy played 160 snaps and then 39 on special teams. And Steve Wildfong of On3 talked with Markway's dad, and they like Nebraska. Program on the rise, tight end heavy offense. Just got to school. Sat didn't want to go into whether or not the dude can play this season or not. Unclear on that, but I think he's going to try and practice, so away you go. But a 4-star tight end, did his high school football in Missouri, and he's a get, man. He's absolutely. Now, the best thing I saw on Twitter today from a Husker funny account was, Mac, stay the hell away from vape shops.
No further comment necessary.
No, but it was gloriously funny. It was pretty funny. Can we go back to MJ? No, not yet. Maybe at 50. Justin with the hashtag blame Elijah. Never. Hail Varsity chimes back at crew. Wow, crew or sexy Grinch. That's pretty impressive. How many varsity sports did you start in? Wow. It has gotten petty and childish, and I love it.
Yeah, how about you writing that comment, Schmidt?
I don't know how to type. Clearly, I can't read. So Trevor's like, look, I'm with the Grinch. I was 6'9" as a senior and ran a 4.540.
Good
Love
Lord.
that. But no, the red shirting or gray shirting, that happened. There's about 3 kids in my class that did 8th grade all over again and didn't need to academically, and there's a handful of them that, I don't know, let's just say kindergarten wasn't their friend, and they were the they could have gotten into R-rated movies in 6th grade. Quite funny.
I had a friend who had a full beard in 6th grade.
Well, there was some dude who lockered next to me my first year at Southeast, and kid was already working the comb over. I'm not kidding you. He was track and field guy. Clearly, he was a pincushion, losing his hair at 15.
Yeah, no, my buddy Tyler was like 6'5", 300, full beard. I always remember him in middle school when he tried to get into high school football games. They'd charge him as an adult. He had to start bringing his student ID and be like, no, I promise I'm actually in 6th grade.
Yep. Meanwhile, minivan, family, mortgage to deal with. MJ Sherman, we promise, on being a black shirt. Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, it's Hail Varsity, powered by Cornhead Lager, R Ringer 65 with the tailgate menu for him. We just need to know where the halftime spot is. R Ringer 65 tailgate menu. Johnsonville, Italian, hot or mild. Didn't ask. I'm asking, but either way, it's good. They are on sale tomorrow at /non-sponsor for $3.99. Pre-game protein on the cheap. Good for you, R Ringer. I invite you to the Single Barrel. Get their breakfast. Starts at 7 a.m. They have Bloody Marys. They have cold beer. They have 200 whiskeys to choose from. They have incredible steaks. Elijah and I took down the gargantuan charcuterie board. 3 steaks, a burger, sausage, brisket. Mm-hmm. We hammered it. It was so good.
It gave me the meat sweats.
It was
incredible. Do you remember?
That's like rookie.
A puddle in my chair from all the sweat.
It's all right. MJ Sherman smiling about being a black shirt.
Oh, it's a high honor, but you got to earn your keep every single day. I mean, just because you got a black shirt doesn't mean you started forever. The roster change every single day, and you just got to earn your keep every single day. I mean, it's just a practice one with the black shirt. My goal is to keep the whole season with the black shirt. Good
idea, man. A little bit more from MJ.
I mean, we've been watching Austin Peay tape a lot and trying to get a feel of things and, trying to do formation recognition and recognizing the personnel, who they brought over, who they kept. And also, man, it's just things that we just do every single day. I mean, they're a big tempo team. They'll love the screen and stuff like that, but we just got to be the most conditioned team in America, and that's one of our goals.
I think I got the audio right this time.
No, which is
a big win for me.
It is MJ Sherman on being a black shirt and dealing with what UTEP is going to provide on offense. I mean, that 5-wide setup where they're just going to throw out to the hash and it's one-on-one, get off your block, spread the field, go tempo. This defense, though, should be ready for it. I think they're locked in. We'll see. But it's going to be a kind of a fun first ball game.
And I go back to what we heard from the best D coordinator to ever do it at Nebraska yesterday, what he said with us on the show where he's talking about the importance of adjusting in the game. That's going to be necessary, but I also think about the importance of tackling whenever you're going to have this 5-wide set. And we had tons of concerns going into last season. Those were all quelled as the year went on. It's a lot of the same guys, new linebackers. You assume that's going to be good, but this is a game where it's going to be really important. You can't let those 3- and 4-yard completions, which are going to be there. UTEP's going to get those. That's what those dink and dunk, like high-volume offenses are going to do. Passing the ball is they're going to complete the ball short over the middle of the field on you. That's just how it goes. How are you as a tackling unit, making sure that 3 yards stays 3 yards as opposed to turning into 7, 8, turning into a first down, turning into 40 yards, turning into 6 points? Like, it all starts with tackling because, you know what? it's game one. They're going to get their yards. You're going to adjust. You're going to figure things out. But in the meantime, how are you at tackling?
Well, they got to tackle well, and then they could do the throwing quarterback or the mobile quarterback merry-go-round potentially. Could see both guys for UTEP. Reminder to get buckled up. Use your seat belt. It saves lives. It prevents injuries only if properly worn. Make it click. A message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Back at you tomorrow on Hail Varsity. Mr. Searles, Evan Bland, Mike Babcock as we get you ready. Week 1, Husker football's here. We're powered by Cornhead Lager. Check us out in the stream, Hail Varsity YouTube. Thanks for tuning in.